Hey, I have a question for you. How's dry January going for you? It's January 22nd. Are you still doing it? The trend to use January as a time to reset your relationship with alcohol is a good time for people to determine if you are either a moderate or an excessive drinker. Dr. David Persse is the Chief Medical Officer with the City of Houston. He's joining us now to talk about this morning. Good morning. Thanks for coming on again.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I mean, I know when we say, oh, dry January, it's sort of become this like fun, trendy thing, but it actually can be pretty important. I mean, whatever you want to name it, if it's a good time to help you figure out if you've got a problem, it's probably a good thing. Can you tell us what the difference is between moderate and excessive drinking? How do we know? Is it a number of drinks?
Yeah. So that's a great question. And there is a definition. I'll give you the definition, but then I'm going to give you a sort of a personal comment on it at the end. So drinking in moderation, by definition, is for men that drink, 2 drinks or less per day. For women, it's 1 drink or less per day. And these come from the dietary guidelines for Americans. And so that's what's considered moderate drinking. Excessive drinking includes binge drinking, heavy drinking, any drinking by a pregnant woman. And of course, by law, you shouldn't be drinking under the age of 21. But binge drinking, that's our most common form of excessive drinking. And this is when, people drink, a lot, obviously in one setting. And so again, by definition, for men, this is 5 or more drinks in one sitting. For women, it's 4 or more. And heavy drinking is considered, again, a definition, 8 drinks or more per week for a woman, 15 drinks or more for a man. But what I want to point out is that I think that when people, start having a problem with drinking, it's when your drinking starts to interfere with your life. When, your friends and family members tell you, hey, man, you need to take it easy a little bit, or you start, developing some social problems, whether you want to call it moderate, binge, excessive drinking, those are some definitions. But when your drinking starts causing you problems, that's when you need to start paying attention to it.
Absolutely. Is this we typically think of this, I feel like, as a bigger problem among men, but is it? I mean, is it now sort of evened out?
Yeah, another great question. And it is not solely a man drink. I think, popular social science would make you think that it's a male-oriented sort of problem. And then for many years it was, because women weren't allowed to drink way back, decades and decades ago. But certainly it is now, we see a lot of excessive drinking problems in women as well, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, and we've done other interviews on this, and I feel like during the pandemic, when so many people started working from home and started doing everything from home and didn't have to leave the house, and people were stressed out, it seems like drinking increased during that. This is anecdotal, of course, but I think it's a good time to talk about some tips for cutting back or better managing the use of alcohol. It doesn't have to be dry January, but what are some things that we could do? I mean, if we're thinking, maybe I'm drinking a bit more than I should.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. So if you were to do dry January, not drinking January, that doesn't mean beginning February 1st. Just drink as much as you possibly can, right? It's a dry January to remind you and hopefully give you an opportunity to sort of maybe set in some techniques that will help you manage your drinking. And so the the charity alcohol change in the UK has come up with a number of suggestions, and they're pretty straightforward. They're pretty simple and straightforward. Most people don't drink every day, but one of the things you can do is you can set a limit of drinks that you're going to have per week. And you just set that limit, how many you're going to have. Maybe it's 5 drinks, maybe it's 4 drinks, whatever it is. You set that for the week, and then you stick to it. The other thing you can do is you can practice saying no, right? When you go out and you're in a social interaction, where you're going out to dinner with friends, you don't have to drink just because everybody else is drinking. If you don't want to drink, just say no. And then the other thing is you can drink some, the low alcohol or no alcohol alternatives. There's plenty of alcohol-free beers, but there's also alcohol-free ciders, wines, and other drinks that are traditionally considered to be alcohol-based drinks that are low alcohol or no alcohol. And you can take part in those if you want. And then the other thing you can do is, if you are going to drink, but you don't want it to have too much of an effect on you, you can try to eat something before you drink the alcohol. That'll just slow down the absorption. You'll still absorb it all, but you'll just slow it down a little bit. And then the last thing is that if you think you've got a drinking problem, there's nothing to be ashamed of. If you need to ask for help, ask for help. You can go with your primary care physician. You can, there are friends of yours who've got drinking problems may have some you can go to. There's certainly Alcoholics Anonymous and other similar groups. If you think you got a problem, it's okay to ask for help. That's the brave thing to do, quite honestly.
All right. I appreciate your insight, Dr. Persse. Thanks so much for talking with us about this. We will put this on click2houston.com because I do think it's a very important topic that everybody needs to think about. Thank you so much.
Thank you.